Hi, folks. This is Louis Hertham, the original Peter Abernathy. Hell is empty and all the devils are here on the Chat on TV Westworld podcast with Roger, Gene, and Big D.
Welcome back to Chat on TV Westworld, the unofficial podcast companion piece of the hit HBO series Westworld. I'm one of your hosts, Gene Lyons. Alongside me are my two co-hosts, Dick Ebert.
Good evening.
And Ash.
Hi, y'all.
And this is our Instacast episode where we look back at this week's episode of Westworld and provide our immediate reactions. This week's episode was titled Well Enough Alone. Gang, what'd you think?
So, first of all, I want to say hello to everybody. Sorry I couldn't be here last week, but for me, I was able to watch the episodes back to back. I didn't listen to any of the podcasts because I couldn't watch the episode. I was away in Sweden. So I wanted to come back, be able to watch the episode, then to go into the research. And for me to watch them back to back, I think I enjoyed it a little bit more. I heard you guys, though, referencing that you thought it was a slow burn or it was very quiet. I found that to be true. And with this second episode tied onto it, I could feel the slow pace, but at least it was starting to get going. If I had just been stuck with episode one, I think it would have been a long week. But as far as this episode goes, I think the slow reveal it's burying the lead a lot. You know, Charlores' plan, obviously now, they're going to reopen the park, they're going to expand it, and they want to somehow enslave the human race. They don't want to kill them off. But instead, we get a lot of, wow, look, it's original Walter. He's coming to kill Caleb. Oh, look, it's Christine / Dolores, and she's going to go hunt down and play detective at the mental facility, and it's closed, but he donated all of his money to it. And don't get me wrong. It's cool to see the old hosts. We love it when they pop up, but I don't know that this is the best way to engage with the audience and tell the story. But as far as the story is going, I'm getting this really scary Star Trek holodeck vibe. And I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but there was a lot of times where you had Picard and Data going back into the 20s, and they would go into speakeasies. And it looked and felt very much like this. When we get on the train and we get the William replay of season 1 coming into the park and pick your hat and all that, when she says it's all bespoke, it's all custom, I'm like, there's no way this is real.
Big D, when you mentioned the familiar faces, I could see the showrunners as they're putting these episodes together being like, the audience at this point is going to see Charlores and be like, oh, dang. And then they're going to see Walter be like, oh, dang. And then you see the Men in Black be like, oh, dang. And my cynical self, I'm like, no, I'm actually not feeling any of that at all. I'm just like, oh, look, it's Charlores. There she is. And I don't want to yuck people's yum, because if you go on Twitter, if you go into our Discord, largely the audience is reacting this way. They are pumped to see these people pop up on screen out of every corner and every hallway in the show. I'm just not in that pool.
Yeah, neither am I. And if this is a holodeck, I'm going to burn the world down, because that would be terrible. For me, I did say last week was quiet. This week was noisy, but even it being the opposite of last week, I don't know about you guys, but this still didn't really feel like Westworld to me, nor does it feel like the pacing for a normal season. This episode, the way it was paced, it felt more like the way an episode of maybe episode 4 or 5 of a season would be paced, not episode 2. I don't feel like we have enough of a story yet of what's going on beyond just, hey, here's a continuation. There was an ellipsis and we just kind of picked back up again, which is not something they've ever done before. And for me, I think it would have been much more successful, kind of like what you were saying, Big D, if there had been just an extended first episode where this was the back half of the first part, because a lot of this feels really heavy-handed and in a lot of ways really obvious. Why create the host bodies for the senator and his wife if you're just planning on killing them, right? Other than for you to be like, oh shit, here they come. And then Maeve and Caleb, they clearly know these are traps, right? The whole parking lot, the whole theater, they're fucking empty. And for an 8-episode season, I guess by episode 2, I wanted to feel a little bit like there's some consistency in the pacing and that we kind of have a storyline of some kind, because with only 6 episodes left, I'm still kind of lost as to what this season is supposed to be. Now, the new park, cool as fuck, right? But the bottom line is, I love when Westworld leaves me with questions. I think that's the most fun part of Westworld. But for me, I think my frustration as a viewer is that I don't want the question to be, what's the point of the season?
But I don't, again, I've not listened to any of the reviews or your deep dive or the Instacast. I apologize.
Thanks.
It was intentionally. I will
Appreciate
listen
it.
to them tomorrow because I didn't want to spoil myself. But did you talk about Future World, the Westworld sequel to the movie?
You talked about it in the season preview.
Okay, so the basic plot of that movie, if I remember, why are you fucking laughing at me? Did you talk about it or no?
No, you
did.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't sure if you guys brought it up again, but the basic plot is they start an out of space Westworld park where when celebrities and politicians go, they replace them with hosts. They go back into the real world, and that's how Delos exudes power. It's obvious that they're doing that, and they don't want to kill everybody, but make that the main story. Let us kind of see what's going on and less of the mystery. But I don't want to complain and poo-poo it because it's still enjoyable to sit back and watch. It's beautiful. I just wish we got to the heart of it more quickly.
I just would like for you to explain to me what the mystery is here, because like they're replacing the powerful people that she can take over the world, right? Like there isn't much mystery at all.
No, but the mystery of those stupid streetlights and the tower and the song with no sound, they're obviously controlling people. And I'm just having this weird vision that those are projectors for some CG, something that people are in a VR world. That stuff. I mean, that muddies the story.
This is about as noodly as Big D's timeline projections. I'm really, really enjoying this. But I also get the sneaking suspicion that he's going to catch whatever's going on faster than everybody else. But the real talent on this show, it's not Evan Rachel Wood. It's not Tandy Way. It's not Ed Harris. It's the people who are making the trailers. Because between episode 1 and episode 2, I saw the trailer for episode 2. I was like, finally, shit's going to kick off. Finally, the show's going to get exciting. Finally, we're going to get that juicy episode we've been waiting for. And we didn't quite yet. This entire season should have started in the new park. Because that's the fun part, right? Give us some razzle dazzle, give us some wow factor, and then show us how we got there. And the writers are so smug right now. It actually pissed me off. The HBO sequence, the making of, they talked about how they wanted to have small hints of the way William and Logan entered the park, reflected with like Caleb and Maeve, but not give it away too soon. And like you said, Ash, yeah, it's a fucking trap. Like they must seriously underestimate this audience, because I think all of us, everybody watching, knew the second Maeve and Caleb walked into that cocktail bar that was underneath the opera stage that they were going to the 1920s in some sort of a park. Did Caleb and Maeve really think they were going to an opera and then really think that they were in a secret opera speakeasy in their tuxedo and gown? And if this is what the showrunners think of viewers, I think we really should slow down our brains and accept that the show this season is going to be pretty straightforward, perhaps except what you said, Big D, Christina's story might be something totally loopy. But I think this, they gave us concrete numbers. How many hosts are out there taking important people's positions? What the fucking game plan is. It's all right there.
And yeah, I think that they must not know the audience, because I didn't need the heavy-handed, all of the shots of the hallway, the hats. I got it just from when the introduction, do you want to dress yourself or do you want me to say? I'm like, that's exactly what was said to William. It was exactly. So I think any fan that is still with the show into season 4, 6 years in, give us the littlest kernel of a hint and we've got it. We don't need the full shot redone.
Or maybe just like make an episode that wasn't 90% fan service, right? Because it almost feels like these episodes so far, and I know we're only 2 episodes in, but it feels like a show that was gone for like 10 years and came back as like a reboot. And it's like reminding us why we like the show to begin with. And it's not been that long. I mean, it's been a typical amount of time between Westworld seasons. And the big like, ooh, it's Teddy. Ooh, it's Clementine. Ooh, there's hats, right? Like all of that. Like I understand what they're trying to do with that. And maybe it's just me. I'm the person that got bummed out in Endgame when everybody came back and like I felt like it was nothing but fan service. So it could just be me and my rejection of fan service in general, but like I need some substance to the fan service.
Okay, two things. One, yes, it was only you on Endgame because I was like jumping up and down in my seat, throwing popcorn everywhere. Two, we need new Westworld shirts that just say, "Ooh, there's hats."
Ooh, hats.
Westworld. But, if you're listening to us for the first time or if you're a grumpy YouTube person, I need to point out that this is the episode where we give our opinions. This is the Instacast. If you want the objective part where we dive into the topics, that is in our deep dive. That comes later in the week. And then, of course, there's a Telegraph where we get listener mail and voicemail. We'll get into all that, right? This is our little 15 minutes to just hit that release valve and blow off some steam.
But, every time I find myself being like, oh, I don't want to see, what's her next narrative going to be? And she's pitching a video game and she's walking around looking for Peter and checking Peter's voicemails. They cut to William just sitting in a chair with his black hat and his revolver in his hand, and everything in my mind is all right. I would watch a spinoff of just like William. Just what is he doing in his normal day? I would watch that.
I was thinking just that when the Man in Black is on the golf course with the vice president, I was like, I would just watch this show. If it was just a show about host Man in Black fucking shit up in the world and scaring people and killing people, it'd be like a Dexter sort of show. I'm into it.
Well, and I appreciate that he's like embraced like his goth side. Like he's truly like the Man in Black now. That he isn't just wearing like his all in black, cowboy outfit, but he's also, he's goth golfing. He's, he looks good. But for me, I know I've complained a bit, but there are some things that I want to talk about, some things that I want to dive deeper into. So for me, the first on that list is the park, because let's talk about the park. It looks fucking awesome. This looks so much cooler than Westworld ever looked. This is the park that I would want to go to. The clothes are great. The music's going to be bomb. Like it looks like it's going to be a good time. And so I want to explore that. And most specifically, why is Charlores opening up another park? And why does she want Maeve there? Because I think the key to that is going to have to make sense, because it doesn't. Other than the fact that it's a cash cow, it kind of goes against her entire just philosophy. So there's got to be a reason why she's using this tactic. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the interlude that we got with William and Charlores. I don't know about you guys, and guys, please don't judge us too harshly. We're literally doing this like 15 minutes after watching the show for the first time. But it appeared like, is that a human William? Because she keeps referring to him as your people, your kind. And so human William being frozen in cold storage and being revived and then refrozen, that's an interesting plot twist. And I loved his Tron suit. It looked badass. I thought that was really cool. And I want to explore the possibilities of what that could mean of him still being alive.
I think Lisa Joy said, and I might be misquoting her, but she said that the point of this was because Charlores is sentimental, and that maybe she feels a little lonely.
No.
I swear, that's what she said on the fucking TV.
I think she wants some revenge. When you really want to get somebody good, like if he's dead, he's dead. But if you could just wake him up, torture him, show him what's going on and how powerless he is and what they've done to the world, and you put him back to sleep, you get bored, you wake him back up. That's the pain that keeps giving.
Yeah, but don't give us torture scenes that look like they were taken straight out of Masters of the Universe. I expected that laser whip to come out again. For me, I wanted to look into that Peter Myers story, this detective part that you mentioned, Big D. I feel like that story, the Peter Myers story, is the key to unlocking what's happening with Christina. And we got some pretty big clues in this episode. There was Peter's obituary, Christina's visit to New Jersey, and her pitch log. So I'm going to go back into those, really read the obit, listen to that pitch log again, try to piece those things together. And also, what's going on with this building in New Jersey. Look at the schematics, look at the group of people that was in the other room there, and try to figure out what's happening there. I just need some time to pull it together. Any help from listeners would be great. So if you want to write us at host@shadowontv.com. Let us know what you think of this. And if you want to leave a voicemail, you can go to shatpod.com/TV. Use the speak pipe feature. We'd love to hear from you. Help me put this one together.
So for me, I want to stick to what's concrete, what I can see, what I can know, and what I can trust. I want to go back and look at William. When William is interacting with either the powerful people or the humans that he's replacing, we can assume that he knows these interactions, these people are going to die, so he can tell them the truth. there's no reason that any word that comes out of his mouth about the plans or about what they're doing, that we shouldn't think it's reliable information. So I want to go back from the drug lords. And again, I'm watched episode 1 and 2, so I don't know which is which. I want to go back and look at his acquisition of the data center at the Hoover Dam. I want to look at the replacement of the vice president. I want to look at what they've been doing in the government as far as the conspiracy theories about what Delos is up to. Because I think once we find out what the plan is and what's going on in the background, then I can sit back and then I'm okay playing mystery with Peter Myers and all the other stuff. And, oh, it looks like Dolores, but she's not Dolores. And, the whole, Teddy coming back. But I want to look at the hard facts that we got, and maybe that can help unravel the rest of the mystery.
All right. Well, it sounds like a pretty packed agenda for our deep dive. So we're going to get that recorded and have it out to you by Tuesday. That concludes this week's episode of Shout on TV Westworld Instacast. Be sure to follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Shout on TV. On Facebook, just search for Shout on TV Podcast. The website is shatpod.com/TV. You can email us, host at shoutontv.com. Wherever we're fine podcasts can be found, including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Pandora, Spotify, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. And if you stop by iTunes, please leave a review. That helps the podcast grow. On behalf of my co-hosts, Big D and Ash, I'm Gene Lyons. Be sure to join us Tuesday for the Westworld Deep Dive.